All right, the space race. The space race is going to begin in 1957. Now, the space race, what it is going to be this race for scientific superiority between the United States of America and the USSR. The thought here is that the best country is going to win. The country that has the most advanced students, can then develop the most advanced rockets, will be the ones who are going to get to space first. If you can do this, it's going to prove that your country is superior, therefore your country is better. So there's this huge competition coming on, these bragging rights really on the line of what country can be the first to space, which country can be the first to land a man on the moon. It is going to then, within the United States, is going to really kind of get going on July 29th of 1958 with the founding of NASA. Now, NASA is the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, and their goal initially was to get a man in space, get a man on the moon, okay? Then John F. Kennedy, right here in the early 60s when he becomes president, okay, he's going to make a promise, and this promise is very, very bold, and his promise was that by the end of the 1960s, the United States of America will land a man on the moon. Now, this is incredibly important for a number of reasons. Number one, this is a very, very bold promise. Number two, the technology needed to do this is not even around yet when Kennedy is making this promise. Many people doubted whether or not Kennedy was actually going to follow through with this, whether or not it would actually happen. It is ultimately going to happen. Okay? And this is going to start the race for the moon. Now, the race for the moon is the first country to get to the moon. The United States is determined to get there. The USSR is going to deny that they're even taking part in this. They're saying, we're not racing the Americans to the moon. In reality, they were. They just kept it secret. Now, the space race's big events. Number one is Sputnik. Okay, Sputnik is going to come in October of 1957, kind of launching the space race. Sputnik is important because it is the first satellite in space, okay, the first artificial satellite in space launched by the Soviet Union in October of 1957. You need to know what Sputnik is. This is important because it's going to show the advancement of the Soviet system. It's going to be showing that Soviet students are better and more prepared than American students. Soviets are more advanced in science and technology because they are the ones who got this satellite into space before the Americans. Next, we're going to talk about is the thought of, can humans survive in space? There's really no points going to space if humans cannot survive up there. So the Soviets are going to be the first one to test this. And they're going to test this on the dog Laika. Okay, Laika right here was a stray dog they found in Moscow. They took her, brought her in, and put her in this little harness and this module, and then launched her up into outer space. Now, to make this just a little bit on the sick, messed up, and depressing side, this was a one-way trip. So that dog was going to be launched into space, waiting for the oxygen to slowly run out a couple days later, where she would suffocate and then die. In reality, that did not happen. The spacecraft she was in overheated, and she would have died from overheating, thus the giant flames on top of the screen. Rest in peace, like a very important dog, though, because you're kind of the reason Americans and Soviets and everyone else ended up in outer space. But Yuri Gagarin is the first man to enter outer space. Okay, the first human in space in April of 1961, Yuri Gagarin. That is an important name. That is one guy you want to know. The first human in space, allowing the Soviets to technically win the space race in this regard. Okay, they were the first country to get someone to space. Any questions? Comment down below. Otherwise, good luck.